Hey y'all, I'm back in Atlanta and I have my Model S, and I know I've been doing a lot of Model 3 videos lately, but that's because I've been in California and I've been out there driving a Model 3. But now I'm back and I want to do a comparison between the Model S and the Model 3. So in other words, another Model 3 video. It's Renne, and welcome back to my sustainable travel, vegan lifestyle, and smart tech YouTube channel, where I show you guys how to live an adventurously green life. Now, for those of you who are familiar with my videos, I tend to do videos about my Model S, but the last couple times that I flew out to California, I actually rented a Model 3 through my friend Ezekiel. Now, the first time I rented the Model 3, I took a road trip from LA all the way up to San Francisco and Oakland, and if you didn't see that video, make sure you go check it out. Then the second time I rented it, I actually helped my friend go and get his car paint protected. So I've driven the Model 3 a couple times, and now I want to do a comparison between my Model S and the Model 3 based on my experience driving the Model 3. And speaking of the Model 3, did you guys know that you can use my referral code to get a Model 3, a Model S, or a Model X? In the past, you couldn't use the referral code to get a Model 3, but that has all changed. So make sure you use it, and that way you can get 6 months of supercharging. And shout out to Joshua, who used our code. He got his delivered on October 24th. And also shout out to Curtis and Robert, who actually just used our code last week to get their Teslas. So super excited for you guys. You guys are gonna love your car. So by the end of this video, you guys are actually gonna find out whether or not I'm happy that I got the Model S, or if I have buyer's remorse and feel like I should have waited out for the Model 3. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the differences, starting with how you actually get into each car. So the first thing is, well, the key. So with the Model S, you have an actual key that you use to get into your car. Now, the cool thing about the key is you don't actually have to stick it in anywhere and turn the ignition. No, not with the Model S. You literally just have to have it in the car and then you can go. Now with the Model 3, you don't have a key. You actually use your phone to get into the car, or if you don't have your phone or it died, you just don't have it on you, you can actually get like this little card that can actually fit into your wallet. It's super slim, and you can use that to get into your car, and then you use that key to actually take off and drive. You put it on the center console, and that actually signals your car to start going. All right, the second difference in terms of getting into your car are the handles. Now, we all know the Tesla Model S has the auto-presenting door handles, which I love, even more so after driving the Model 3, because to be quite honest, I just prefer the Model S better. It's not that the Model 3 handles were bad, I just like the auto-presenting door handles a little bit more. With the Model 3, you actually have to push in and then pull out, which I totally messed up the first time that I attempted to do this because I didn't know what I was doing, but the second time around, I got it right. Now, before we actually get in the car, let's finish talking about the outside of the car. So most notably, the difference is in the front of the car, right? The two look very different. But I actually really like the style of the Model S, a little bit better than the Model 3, but I still think the Model 3 is super dope. Now, the Model S is also slightly bigger than the Model 3, which means it can make a big difference to people who, say, live in crowded cities and have to get into tight spaces. Even though it's only slightly bigger, it can actually make a big difference to people who have to get in and out of small spaces. So for that reason, I actually really like the Model 3 because it's a little bit smaller and it's better for people who live in areas like that, especially in the city. Two other things I also really like about the Model S. One, the hatchback. I love the hatchback because it means more cargo space. And also, I like that you can actually just press a button and it opens. Now, if you're gonna get the Model 3, you actually manually have to open the trunk. But I've gotten a little bit spoiled with the Model S, and I will admit it was a little annoying having to actually close the trunk on the Model 3. But please don't think I'm a spoiled brat. It's just that this is what I'm used to, and I really, really like this feature. Now, because there's so much space back here and it's a hatchback, it's very easy to sleep in the trunk. Now, if you guys saw my California road trip video, you guys probably saw that we slept in our trunk and we camped out in Joshua Tree National Park. If you missed that video, make sure you go watch it. It was one of my favorite videos we've ever done. And, you know, Ezekiel told me that there is a way to sleep in the Model 3, but he hasn't tried it out. But I know for a fact you can definitely do it in the Model S and sleep very comfortably. Also, we put our dog back here whenever we travel, whenever we have to take him anywhere. He easily is able to just lay out in the back, and you know, he's very, very comfortable. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the trunk space of the Model S, I did a very comprehensive trunk space video that you can go ahead and watch if you want to see all the things that you can actually fit back here as well as in the front. Now, speaking of the front, both cars actually have a front trunk, but I will say the Model S front space is larger than the Model 3. Now, when I did the Model 3 road trip, we had enough space in the trunk and the front for 3 women and our luggage, but I will say the Model S front is roomier, and therefore that's a giant plus for me. And next up, we have the wheels. So with the Model S, you can get 19-inch or 21-inch performance wheels, and with the Model 3, you can get 18-inch or 19-inch wheels. All right, so we finally made it inside the car. So the major difference that really stood out to me when I was doing my Model 3 road trip was not having that screen in front of me. So with the Model S, you're gonna get those 2 screens. You're gonna get that big giant screen in the middle, as well as a screen right behind the steering wheel. And I have gotten so accustomed to that when I did my Model 3 road trip, it was a little weird, having to always look over to my right, because I like being able to also just look in front of me and not just always to the right of me. It's just a personal preference, but honestly, I've talked to several Model 3 owners, and a lot of people say that they actually 100% love the simplistic design. And to be quite honest, I do too. I love that about the Model 3. I love that inside of the Model 3, it is just so simplistic. It's a very beautiful design. It just happens to be a personal preference to have the dual screen versus just one screen. So one interesting difference between both cars is how to charge your phones in the front of the car. So here in the Model S, you have places where you can plug in your cords and charge your phone that way. Whereas in the Model 3, you actually have ports where you can prop up your cell phone and charge your phone without having to plug in any cords. Also, both the Model S and the Model 3 have places back here for you to charge your phones, so no real difference there. So getting out of each car is also very different from the inside. So here with the Model S, you have this handle that you push, whereas with the Model 3, you press a little button to get out the door. Now, just a couple other differences to note. With the Model S, you can get that smart air suspension, whereas with the Model 3, you get coil suspension. With the Model S, you also have that HEPA filtration system going for it, whereas with the Model 3, you don't get that. Now, you also can go 0 to 60 in 2.5 to 4.2 seconds with the Model S, whereas with the Model 3, you can go 0 to 60 in 3.5 to 5.6 seconds. So in conclusion, do I regret getting the Model S? Do I prefer the Model S or do I prefer the Model 3? I'm actually really curious what you guys think. Are you team Model S or Model 3? Now, as for me, I actually am really happy with my purchase. I'm glad I got the Model S. Love the Model 3, but there were just some things that I really missed about my Model S when I was driving the Model 3. Now, that being said, no matter what Tesla model you get, you can't go wrong. If you're driving a Tesla, you're kind of winning. All right, so if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more Tesla videos, more travel videos, more vegan videos, more smart tech videos. I also owe you a tour of my smart home, which I finally moved into. So all that coming down the pipeline and more. All right, that's all I got. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys at a supercharger somewhere.